In this video, we'll break down 7 pickleball IQ tips. We'll explore the decision-making patterns that separate amateurs from advanced competitors, and we'll talk about modern pickleball strategy built around control, pressure, and intelligent adaptation. Most players step onto the court and simply react. There is very little intentional thinking guiding their shot selection. That lack of awareness limits growth and keeps performance inconsistent under pressure. These 7 concepts focus entirely on elevating in-game intelligence so every rally is played with purpose. Each tip builds toward becoming a smarter player who consistently outthinks opponents in every situation. In a dink rally at the kitchen line, when the ball is traveling back and forth, and an opponent nicks the net causing the ball to fall softly onto the other side, the instinct for many amateur players is to immediately speed it up. That reaction almost always results in an error. When the ball hits the net, it loses its momentum and speed. Attempting to accelerate a ball that has lost all forward energy makes clean contact extremely difficult, often sending it into the net or long. Instead of forcing offense in a low-percentage moment, the correct response is to recognize the opportunity. A net cord ball that lands softly becomes a chance to take control of the rally with an aggressive dink. Rather than rushing, the smarter play is to re-establish positioning and create a better setup ball. High-level decision-making here is not about attacking immediately, but about choosing the shot that keeps advantage on the player's side. During a dink exchange, when a player earns a dead ball that sits up, most players rush to redirect it. Professional players use a different approach. They hold the paddle under the ball for an extra moment before making contact. That brief pause introduces deception and disrupts anticipation. The real advantage comes from observation. On the first held ball, the focus shifts to reading the opponent. Many opponents anticipate a speed-up and begin shifting toward their backhand side. By recognizing that anticipation pattern, the player gains critical information. On the next dead ball, the decision becomes automatic. After holding again, the player speeds the ball toward the opponent's vulnerable area, such as the chicken wing, exploiting the prior adjustment. The hold is not just visual deception. It is a data-gathering tool that reveals tendencies. This concept extends further. The hold into a lob becomes especially effective because opponents brace for speed. With their weight preparing for an attack, the lob becomes the last shot they expect. When anticipation is forward and aggressive, a sudden lob creates a near-unrecoverable situation. The success of this pattern lies entirely in patience, observation, and delayed execution. Choosing between a third shot drive and a third shot drop is not random. It depends entirely on the return. A drive is appropriate in 2 clear scenarios. The first occurs when the return bounces short and high in the court. This is a clear opportunity to tee off and apply pressure. The ball's height and location allow an aggressive swing without unnecessary risk. The second scenario occurs when the return is deep and aggressive, forcing contact off the back foot. In this situation, attempting a drop becomes extremely difficult. Driving the ball instead makes it more manageable to hit a controlled drop on the next shot. Drops also have 2 specific scenarios. The first is when the return bounces shallow but stays low. Attempting to rip a low ball creates unnecessary risk. Dropping maintains control and neutralizes the rally. The second scenario is when the return lands deep near the baseline but carries little pace. Because the ball is coming in soft, driving it provides no meaningful advantage. Dropping is the smarter choice to begin transitioning forward. Understanding these patterns removes guesswork. Instead of defaulting to one shot, players make decisions based on bounce height, depth, and pace. Nervousness affects every level of play. The critical realization is that opponents feel the same nerves. Instead of trying to eliminate nerves, the focus shifts to transferring pressure onto the opponent. When starting a game under tension, attempting delicate third shot drops often results in misses. A more stable option is a controlled third shot drive at roughly 70% power with a dipping trajectory over the net. This shot forces the opponent to handle pace while reducing execution risk. At the kitchen line, nervous players tend to speed up balls prematurely. Establishing a rule with a partner to dink a minimum of 10 balls before attempting a speed-up stabilizes decision-making. This shared structure prevents impulsive attacks and often leads to opponents making the first mistake. By grounding the rally in patience, the pressure shifts naturally to the other side. Professional-level patterns often revolve around creating forehand opportunities. Many players prefer running around their backhand to use their forehand because it introduces more offensive options and deception. The setup begins with conditioning. Two wide dinks establish a predictable pattern. On the third ball, targeting the opponent's inside foot disrupts their positioning. That inside ball often produces a more neutral reply, creating the opportunity to run around and use the forehand. From that position, multiple options become available: cross-court dink, speed up through the middle, down the line attack, or lob. Repeating this pattern throughout a match forces the opponent to constantly guess. Over time, hesitation increases and balance deteriorates. Strategic conditioning turns a simple dink rally into a calculated setup for offense. The fourth ball, when opponents hit their third shot drop, is one of the biggest separators between amateurs and advanced players. The third shot drop is difficult, especially when forced to reset from the middle of the court. If no pressure is applied, opponents transition to the kitchen comfortably. The first priority is determining whether the ball can be taken out of the air. Contacting the ball before it bounces removes time and allows for a more aggressive strike. If it cannot be taken out of the air and must bounce, the response should not be passive. Instead of reaching forward awkwardly, the correct move is to turn sideways, step back as needed, and drive the ball firmly, similar to a tennis ground stroke. The objective is simple: force the opponent to hit a difficult reset. Consistently applying this pressure prevents opponents from entering the kitchen uncontested and increases the likelihood of weak pop-ups. The most important element of pickleball IQ is understanding opponent tendencies and adjusting accordingly. If an opponent frequently uses two-handed backhand dinks, that reveals a reluctance to reach forward and flick balls aggressively. Recognizing this allows a player to shrink the court, lean in, and look to take balls out of the air, applying controlled aggression because the threat of quick flicks is reduced. Conversely, if opponents lean heavily into the kitchen, attack everything out of the air, and crowd the line with forward weight, that overcommitment becomes exploitable. Lobs become effective because their weight is too far forward to recover quickly. Body shots also become effective, as forward momentum limits their ability to react defensively. Understanding these tendencies before and during a match allows a strategic plan to form. Instead of reacting randomly, players enter rallies knowing which patterns are likely to succeed and which are not. Elevating pickleball IQ is not about hitting harder or playing faster. It is about recognizing situations, understanding opponent tendencies, and making disciplined decisions under pressure. When these ideas are applied consistently, rallies become structured rather than chaotic. Decisions become intentional rather than reactive. The transformation is not mechanical alone, it is cognitive. Smarter choices create cleaner execution, and intelligent pressure creates mistakes on the other side. That is the foundation of modern competitive pickleball.